Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Intrusive Thoughts. I am your host, Adam Rippon. I want to start this episode off and say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, every single person in the world. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the whole world. I hope that you had a great holiday. I know that like the deep breath that I'm taking right before I'm describing my holiday is going to make it seem like, oh, what happened? Honestly, kind of nothing, which is good. I'm going to just say this. I know what I'm about to say is maybe not, I don't know if this is a hot take more than just like a bad one, but I don't really like Thanksgiving. For no particular reason. I just don't like the idea of eating all day. I don't know. There's just something I just cannot get behind it. Like a holiday. And I know that Thanksgiving is not about that. Do you know what I mean? It's about the dog show that's on every year that I usually put on when I panic Google a recipe that I say it in quotes, a family recipe, when really it's just like a recipe from like loveandlemons.com where they talk about, how to pickle things. That's what I'm doing, like in a very hasty situation, but I'm watching the dog show. That's what Thanksgiving's about, and being with your family. But in my family, now I almost lost my voice there. Don't worry, I have it. So I'll tell you, like, my history with Thanksgiving is that when I was competing, like the most important time of our season is around this time of year. So I was really never going home for Thanksgiving. Like that wasn't really ever in the cards for me, because I live on the West Coast, but my family is like all on the East Coast. So I was always kind of like doing my own thing on Thanksgiving, like maybe going to like a friend's family's house or doing something with like a roommate or some other friends or something, so it was never this really important family thing. And now in my life, my husband is from Finland, so he has no connection to like Thanksgiving at all. Obviously, like the first year that he was here, because we were long distance for the first like few years that we were together, that the first year that we could celebrate Thanksgiving together, I did like pull out all the stops. I will back up and say all the stops where I made stuffing and I bought those King's Hawaiian rolls. And to me, that was every stop I could have pulled. And now when I'm saying that out loud, I'm going, that's it. I think I also made like sweet potatoes because I wanted a way to eat brown sugar that day, which is kind of all the sweet potato was there for. It's just like the sweet potato is just a vessel to eat brown sugar. But this Thanksgiving, I kind of just did nothing. I didn't have a mental breakdown, but I did have a mental disconnect from reality on that day, which I really needed. I've been like so busy with the medical spa, and I was traveling for a little bit. I mentioned I was in Lake Placid, and I've just gotten like back into the groove, and I've just been like working a lot, and the Olympics are coming up like very quickly. So there's just like a lot for me to do in prep for that. And so I was just like, and now you want me to eat turkey? You want me to have tryptophan on top of everything I have to do already? I don't think so. I really just don't think so. And so I decided that I was going to leave the meal to JP, because he was like, I want to make a roast. I said, okay, great. Knock your fucking socks off, because I will not be participating in the making of any meats this holiday season. I don't know if I have it in me. And I didn't. I'm glad that I kind of relayed that responsibility to my spouse, because it wasn't going to happen for me. It wasn't going to happen for us. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to contribute something because I don't want to look back on this calendar year and be like, you did nothing on Thanksgiving because you don't have any emotional connection to it. Well, that's wrong, right? I didn't want to do that. So I said, I'm going to make two things. I'm going to make two desserts. And one of the desserts I made was, I saw this obviously online because that's where crippling addiction kind of stems from, is from you pick it up online. And I was scrolling, and I saw somebody overreact to the taste of some sort of dessert, obviously, which is like one of the most famous reactions one can have to anything that they make or post online, is to overreact to it. And this specific recipe, I say that so lightly because you'll hear me explain it, was cranberries that you soak in a 7-Up or Sprite sort of mixture overnight for like 24 hours. And then the following day, you will drain the 7-Up Sprite concoction. Sometimes you do like 50% Sprite, 50% orange juice. That was like too much effort for me. Like I said, like not mental breakdown, but like mental disconnect from reality. And my reality did not include orange juice when I was collecting the ingredients. Again, ingredients, a loose term for the recipe, second loose term, that I was making this, again, third loose term, Thanksgiving. Right. So no orange juice. You can do that at a 50-50, 1 part orange juice, 1 part 7-Up, which I wasn't going to do. And does 7-Up even exist anymore? Because I had to get a Starry. And I did a diet Starry, which I feel like I needed to do regular full-on sugar Starry. Okay, we'll get there. It works out in the end, but like I'm in this moment troubleshooting what I should have done better or different. So then you take those, you drain that soda mixture, liquid, saturator, marinating liquid. And then you mix the cranberries up with a powdered sugar, and then you put them in the oven at like 200 degrees for about like 7 or 8 minutes. And it's delicious. Okay. Like that, putting them in the oven just like hardens the outside, and the powdered sugar like combats the tartness of the cranberry. So it's amazing. It really is. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to be like, I made this recipe. And it's just like, you put a bunch of cranberries in soda overnight and cover them in sugar the next day. Like, that's not a recipe. That's a craft. And when I say craft, I mean like arts and crafts, not like it took any skill, like a craft, right? It's like a DIY, nothing to write home about, as I mentioned. So that was the one thing. And the next thing was sort of in my mind, I felt like, well, I can make a chocolate cream pie. Okay. So I got a pie crust, which I obviously like did not have the wherewithal to like Google how to make a pie crust. Like I wasn't going to do that. Like smashed graham cracker. Like no. Had to draw a line somewhere. I had to put up a wall and build the wall. That was the theme for my Thanksgiving. And the wall was like against doing anything for it. So I got a pie crust, the Keebler Elf kind of brand, which is Keebler is the brand. Don't know why I brought the elves into it, because they're like on the label. So that's why. And I was like, well, then what do? You just make pudding, which I love pudding. And I've made pudding before. It's just like that, especially instant pudding, right? Instant pudding is just milk and mixture. Like scrub, not scrub, mix. Scrub. Mix. Wait 5 and you're done. That's just pudding. Like I don't understand the science or how that kind of comes to be, but it is what it is. So I was like, okay, you just put pudding in the Keebler pie thing and done. That's kind of what I thought. But what ended up happening was I made it and it was like too thin. I should have probably used I was doing what it said to make pudding. So basically I made like soup that got put on top of a graham cracker. Delicious, just not aesthetically pleasing in any sort of way. Actually, whatever the opposite of pleasing would be, it was aesthetically displeasing, if I had to be honest. But it did taste delicious. It tasted like pudding and chocolate graham cracker. So there was no losing there. But there was no winning with the way that it looked. So I really did not contribute anything to the Thanksgiving dinner, except for on the Thanksgiving day. Well, let me back up before we get to Thanksgiving Day. JP wanted to make a roast, but then he decided he wanted to make like a stew. So he made the stew on Wednesday and was like, should we just eat some of it now? And I was like, shouldn't we wait till Thanksgiving? And he said, why? And I went, you're right. What do you say to somebody being correct? So we had Thanksgiving stew on Wednesday. And so then by Thursday, I was like, should we just have the stew again? He was like, if you want. We were both disconnected from the reality of what Thanksgiving was. It's just not, it's whatever. The Pilgrims, like, do we need to talk about them? I'm going to tell you what really this stems from is that, like, when I was in preschool, I went to Step Up Preschool with Mrs. Hodge and Mrs. Pacina. I think that those are the names that I called them. Were those the real names? I don't know if like that's just like my kid brain, but those were my teachers at Step Up Preschool. And we had to choose if we wanted to be a pilgrim or an Indian. Please bear with me. It was 1995 when I was in preschool. Okay. I'm just telling you what the choices were. I'm not telling you that I made them. And I wanted to be a Native American, right? I'm updating the kind of culture on it now. But the only reason, actually, wait, no. Everyone in my class raised their hand because they wanted to make like a vest out of a cardboard bag. Okay. But I didn't hear what they were raising their hand for. So they all got to be Native Americans. Obviously, it's not a good look now. They made feathers, whatever. I guess I kind of knew into the future because then I realized that they were asking what you wanted to be. And so then they said, okay, everybody who wants to be a pilgrim, raise your hand. And it's me and like two other snotty nosed preschoolers. And I'm like, what are we raising our hands to? And then that's when I realized that I was sort of tricked, but only because I wasn't listening, into being a pilgrim. And I was furious. I cried, which wasn't uncommon for me to do in preschool. I'll be honest. I cried when I got home from preschool because I wanted to make a paper bag vest like everyone else. I cried that whole day, the whole next day when everybody was cutting out their vest. Cried the whole day because I had to make a giant, like comically sized collar out of cardboard paper and a hat with a buckle. I hated everything about it. Still to this day, I get shivers down my spine thinking of having to make that ugly pilgrim fucking hat in preschool. I cried all that day. And you know what? I was right to cry. It was an ugly fucking thing I had to make. And ever since then, I've just really not liked Thanksgiving. And that's the truth. And I know sometimes the truth hurts. And in this case, sometimes the truth doesn't make any sense. But it makes sense to me. And that is sort of what really does matter in this scenario. So ever since that moment at Step Up Preschool, when I didn't realize I should have been raising my hand to be, as they put it, hey, I'm sorry about it, Indian, I did raise my hand to be a pilgrim. Ugh, horrible. I wish I could find a picture of this. I don't think that there's a picture of me from that day that I don't have like bright, glowing red eyes from sobbing. I'm sure it's like tear stained. I'm acting like it still is like out there. I'm for sure it's been discarded of. Now, it's leading me to remember that that's 30 years ago. All right, everyone. And that was 30 years ago. So do forgive the teachers that did put me in the position to have to make that choice. So then on Thanksgiving Day, I made a broccoli and green bean sort of thing, which was like good, right? I did the emergency look up a recipe, but this time I went to TikTok and like searched something, and that was it. And that was Thanksgiving. But I had to take like a mental like sabbatical that day. I just like I said, there's just been so much going on, which is great. Like so much medical spa stuff, which it's sort of like TikTok on the clock. We gotta get it together. I've hinted, I don't even know if I've hinted at this, but I've like threatened myself with like, we are going to open in January of 2026, which is like very famously next month. And there's so many things to like do before then. I pass out. I fall through a trap door. But yeah, there's so many things to do before then. And then again, with like the Olympics are also just like right around the corner. So it's just like there's so many things that I need to like get together that I just couldn't do it. And then turkey on top of that, not for me. Not really for me. I will tell you there's should we I feel like I've been talking for so long. It might be nice to do one voicemail before we continue, right? Let's do a voicemail before we continue.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hello, Adam. I'm just feeling kind of down right now about the state of the world and how, so much of the money in the world is controlled by like 6 people. I just want to know, like, what are your opinions on billionaires? Also, would you commit the atrocities that Elon Musk and other billionaires have for $1 billion? What is your selling point? What would you sell out for? Thank you. God bless.
And God bless you too, our incredible callers. Opinions on billionaires. Listen, I don't mean to be taking like a long time, like, let me think about it. That is bad, right? Like nobody should have $1 billion. Nobody needs $1 billion. Right? Like, I think like we would be completely fine as a society if like at $999 million, we kind of capped it. I just don't think any one person needs to amass that type of wealth. It's unnecessary. And I think like we've had this mentality of like, well, if people had more money, they'd spend more money. No, not really. People are hoarders and not good at their core sometimes. So they'll just hoard it and then there'll just be less of it for people who need it or sort of like resources. Right. So my opinion on billionaires isn't a good one. It's not like that's not good. On that same side of, different side of the same coin, I would like $1 billion. Right. I could justify it if I had it, but I don't have it. And I don't think anyone needs it. OK, that's my thing. Would I commit the atrocities? I wouldn't, because I just don't think anyone needs $1 billion. Right. I think I'd find a way to kind of offload it a bit, get rid of some. What is my selling off point? What would I sell out for? Well, it's really interesting that you bring this up because it's making me think of something that I potentially would maybe sell out for. So this is a story that begins maybe about a year ago at this point. And it's like it's not really a doozy, but it is funny. to me at least. So a few months to about a year ago, I got a DM on Instagram from the company Temu. Okay, like, you know, the like site that sells actual trash to people at a price that does feel unethically low. And so I got an Instagram DM from them that said, hey, like, we love your content and we would love to, you know, collaborate on something together. Let us know your rates and, you know, we'll get back to you. And so my first reaction to this was like, okay, I'll check it out and see if this is actually like Temu. Yeah, I'm drawing this out to make it dramatic. Basically, I saw the message, clicked on the profile. It was Temu. Okay. It was just, there's nothing to kind of beat around the bush on that one. Temu DM'd me. I'm bragging. All right. And so my first reaction is like, I don't want to do a brand deal with a company that's just selling trash. Okay, I'm not interested in doing that at all. Not interested in being like, look at the junk that I bought. Isn't this beautiful piece of plastic amazing? Ooh, and it smells good too. Like, I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what I would say or do. But you know, the business side of my brain said, you know what? Give them a crazy number that's not too crazy for like a company that probably has $1 billion, right? An unethical amount of money. And so I don't know what I said, but I said something that like was like a crazy amount. But I'm like, if they were really loved my content, like they'd do it. Like it's, or they'd at least say something back. But I'm like, I'm not putting any effort or thought into this. And so I wrote back and was like, thank you. It's so good to hear from you. Thank you. And my rate is, I think I said $150,000. Okay. And my rate for what? Right? Like, who knows? Who cares? I don't want to do this. But if they're talking in the 150 range, I'm going to hear them out. Sorry. You know, I am only who I am. And so I'm like, now I'm sure I'll never hear from them again. Don't ever need to. I do, though. I hear from them maybe within a few days and they go, hey, we're still really interested, but like, unfortunately, that is like out of our price range. But we will reach out and maybe we can do something in the future, which shocked me. And so I said, okay, great. Like, thanks for reaching out again. Just like, I'm keeping it cool and casual. Then a few months go by. And I get a message very similar to the first one I've ever gotten. And it's like, we love your content. We'd love to like revisit this. And yeah, let us reach out to us. And so I'm like, okay. Again, like I don't want to do this. Right. Like I'm not like, let's really try to work this out. I don't want to do it. But I am curious to see like where this will go. So I get back to them and I go, oh my God, it's so nice to hear from you again. Unfortunately, my rates have gone up and now they're $200,000, which is, you know, like it's the number's getting more and more absolutely insane. But I'm thinking like, what's a crazy number that they'll say no to, but like they might consider because they have $1 billion, right? So, and I'm like, what do I care? I don't want to do this anyway. But look at this. Oh my God. Like it, and look, you wear the jacket and it doesn't even fall apart. Like, I don't even know how you would sell it. Okay, and maybe I'm being like too harsh on Temu, but I don't think so. I think we're not being harsh enough on them, to be honest. And so again, I'm like, I'll never hear from them. I hear from them. That's unfortunately a little out of our range. I go, not a problem. Thank you. Like smiley face emoji, thumbs up, whatever. I'm keeping it cheerful. And then again, maybe this was like a few weeks ago, I get another message and it's along exactly the same lines. I get back to them right away. I go, I'd love to. Unfortunately, the rates have gone up. Yeah, I want them to feel like they've missed out on an opportunity, right? We better get them now. And I've decided that every time, because I think that they'll continue to reach out, every time they reach out, I'm going to go, rates have gone up, and it's just going to be another $50,000. And so I want to tell you this story because what would you sell out for? I'm going to say this. If you ever see me do a brand deal for Temu, just know that the amount of money was undeniable. So if you see me like those influencers who were like in the Shein factory going, oh my, they're wearing the white gloves going, oh my God, there's no dust in here. Everyone, all the children are treated so nicely here. Like if you see me doing like, oh my God, nobody's injured in this place. It's amazing. There's no blood on the floor at all. Like if you see me in the factory, in the Temu factory, just know that like they gave me a hush money. So if you just know that like at that point, and just know from the point of like this podcast coming out, the year is 2025. If you see me in the year 2030, just know that like, unfortunately, rates have gone up. Okay. So just imagine rates have gone up, what that number was. If you see me do a Temu deal a few years from now, just know, I want you to know I don't endorse what I might be saying in that sponsorship. But just know that I have no choice. I had no choice. And, that's capitalism. And so just know that if I do that, it was like a 7 or 8 figure deal of which I had no job. Oh my God. I love it. It's, oh my God, knock off Hello Kitty. It's just, oh my God, does this plastic have BPAs? I hope it like that's, I don't know even what I could say. It smells flame retardant. Like, I don't even know what the post could be about, but just know if in the future I do it, that like rates had gone up and I didn't go down without a fucking fight. Like I clawed my way to a deal which was probably morally corrupt, but I got paid really well. So that is like kind of my inside joke to myself of what would I sell out for? I would sell out if the Temu deal did after many, many years. Because I don't even think, would I do it now if they said yes? I don't think so. I don't know. Listen, before you start judging me, would you do it? Right? Would you do it? What's your number on, like, what's the number that Temu needs to give you before you point your, first of all, I want you to know I haven't done it. Okay. And I'm not considering it, right? Like there's a number at which I would sell out for. I don't know what that number would be though. And maybe there's not a number. I don't know how I would react in the moment, but I do know that, that if forever, if there's ever like a post that you see or a billboard that you might come across where it's like Adam Rippon, like I'm holding just a bunch of, it's just like just trash. It's just trash to go immediately into a bin, going, I love this. Like, just know that was a deal that was made years in the making, years and years. Rates had gone up many times since then. So I don't think I'd actually sell out for Temu, but if I do, just like, I want you to know here and now the reasoning and how I got there. But this is actually, I never kind of prompted the audience to like reach out, but I want to know, you should call and leave a voicemail. I do want to know what's the number that you would sell out for? And it's okay, right? Like, it's like, this is a safe space for you to share that publicly with me, because I'd love to kind of share it with everybody. But I don't know what mine is. And I feel like I need to hear a few people's sellout number to kind of really gauge like what mine should be. Right? That's what I'm thinking. So there was actually more that I wanted to talk about. The first thing was, I can't remember the name of the show, but maybe it's like Phil Eats or something. It's on Netflix. And it's with Phil Rosenthal. I think that's his name. Yes, Phil Rosenthal. And I was watching it last night with JP, and Phil went to Tbilisi, Georgia. And, he's, doing all the cuisine and whatever. And JP had never really seen Georgian food. I know a few people from Georgia, the country, Georgia. So I'm kind of like familiar with the cuisine over there. When I was skating, my skating coach was from Georgia. So I am familiar with the wine was invented in Georgia. And I'm familiar with like some of the cuisine. So we're watching it. And if you've ever seen this like show, Phil Rosenthal I don't know his background. I'm going to sound so ignorant. Should I look it up? Okay, let's look it up together. But basically, I'm going to get to a point, and I'm positioning myself sort of like this if you're watching, because I've put myself at like a weird angle. Okay, hold on. Phil Rosenthal. Do I search background? Let's see what it says. That's him. Okay, he's a writer. What did he write? Okay, hold on. We're figuring this out together. Award-winning television writer. Oh, okay. Yeah, he wrote Everybody Loves Raymond and Somebody Feed Phil. Okay. So he's from the Everybody Loves Raymond franchise. That's his like claim to fame. Anything else? I'm just looking. I'm looking quick. I don't want to. Now I'm like a stickler for the details. I feel like you'd make a lot of money from Everybody Loves Raymond, because everybody loved that show. I think I remember that. Okay, whatever. Who cares? He goes around and he does a lot of like dad jokes, and he's very like, he's fun, right? I turned to JP after like watching this like episode, and I was like, I think that I would have like a good 6 hours with Phil before I would go to the tallest building in whatever city we were in and just jump off. And I mean that with all the love in my heart. Because I am like, I can imagine that multiple hours of these dad jokes could kind of get on your nerves and get you in the elevator to the tallest point of the tallest building. And that's just what I was thinking. That was kind of weighing on my heart, wanted to share that. But it's a fun show. Now I'm backtracking. I'm like, but it is a fun show. But yeah, I can imagine that I'm like, just only so much, little bites. But on that same note, he's more successful than me. He has written a better television show than I ever have, and he has more money for now until I do that Temu deal. And he's a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that like what I mean is like we'd have a good few hours together. Is like then I'd need a break. Do you know what I mean? He's like, he just has the personality of somebody like, you know what? I'm actually going to eat dinner alone tonight. I'll catch you in the morning. And then we'll like regroup from there. But I kind of need 5 alone minutes. And I think that's what I mean. That's the softer version of saying I'm going to kill myself, right? I think that's the nicer way to put what I was saying before. And I do want to be nice. There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about in this episode that's a personal thing. And it's this. On social media, I will see, these like, Elle Magazine or like Harper's Bazaar or Cosmopolitan or whatever, right? Like they do these things with these videos with like different like celebrities. And I mean, I've done these videos before, but there's like a one genre of video that I just don't like. I just don't like it. And it's the get your phone out and prank call your famous friend. Like I hate that video. I hate that genre of video. It feels insane. I am sure. Actually, not I'm sure. I do know. I've been asked to like do this like in the moment. Like, if you could pull out your phone right now, who's the most famous person you call? I'm like, the most famous person I could call is be whoever would answer 911 at this moment and get me out of here. I don't even know what I've said, but I've made it incredibly uncomfortable for everyone in the room when I'm ever asked, or if I've ever been asked to do that, because I just don't like that concept of idea. I also don't like pranks. So yeah, I actually kind of have a really hard stance against pranks and people who do pranks on people. I think that people who do pranks on people, there's something really dark there. I don't think pranks are funny. There's a few that I think are funny, like stupid ones. But like anything besides that, like what's a stupid one I'm thinking of? Like I saw my friend the other day. She was posting a video that she like hid the phone to like prank her boyfriend. And it was, she put 2 rolls of toilet paper on the toilet and then like the toilet paper roll in the between the toilet seats. So it looked like the toilet had 2 eyes and had a cigarette in its mouth. And she screamed out for her boyfriend and she said, "Hurry, come here. The toilet is smoking." Oh, God, that really got me. And now I'm realizing I'm just as dad jokey as Phil Rosenthal. God, we are what we eat. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's kind of the only prank I like. But when I think of like pranks that are just awful, I think of like Ellen DeGeneres like pranking Taylor Swift to the point of her like crashing to the bathroom floor and her like I do not like that. That's so dark-sided. I just don't. I don't think it's funny. Yeah, Punk'd. Hate that show. Never liked the idea of it. To tease someone to the point of panic, no, I do not like. Do you remember Boiling Point? I'm thinking of all of this now on MTV, where it was like, we're going to annoy the hell out of someone, and then if they make it to a certain point, they get $100. Like nothing. No, in no world would that be okay. I just really don't like pranks. And so that's just making me think of those videos. I've seen a few of them online recently of like people like, okay, let me just call Meryl Streep really quick and be like, Meryl. I don't like those videos. I don't find them entertaining. I find them just like, who cares? Oh, I'm gonna call someone on a camera. Could not imagine doing that. I can't. Well, cut to my brand deal with Temu. I'm going, Meryl. Oh my God. Right. So, I guess everyone has a boiling point. Maybe I'd get to it one day. I don't know. I don't think so. Listen, I think that after the holidays, for this episode, we're going to call it. Okay. I know it's a little shorter, but this is just to kind of get us in the groove, because I am saying that because I'm looking at the clock and I'm going, I have to get back to the medical spa. Okay. And that's just, it is what it is today. Am I late doing this? Absolutely. I'm very late to record this. But that's all right. We're getting back into it. And I can't thank you enough. You, the listener. I want to say this actually on a sincere note. I am so grateful. I'm a week late. whatever. For everybody who listens to this podcast and who calls in and texts the podcast, very grateful. And listen, I think that you should call or text the podcast now, listening to this. You should give us 5 stars. Those are always helpful. We love all 5 of them. Yum, yum, yum. But you should call or text the podcast, and the podcast hotline is 310-909-7117. Like I said, you can leave a voicemail or you can send a text message. Do I need to like go through them all? I do. So I'm like kind of like seeing like, the last like 1 or 2 to like come in, and we deal with those. So I'm going to comb through them. I promise. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. I'm laughing until I'm crying. So yes, that's the end of this episode. Call or text 310-909-7117. Until next time, I'm Adam Rippon, and these have been my intrusive thoughts. Bye. That's a fun way to end the show. Maybe I'll end it like that. I feel like, here, wait, one more thing. I'm not done yet. I feel like I still haven't like completely figured out the intro and outro of this show or the rhythm. I feel like I'm getting a rhythm. I wouldn't say we've got it down. So I'm still figuring it out. So, but I do I can't remember even what I just said. I'm Adam Rippon. These have been my intrusive thoughts. Is that what I said? I don't know. I guess I'll find out tomorrow when the episode is up. But another prompt for people to call or text in. If you have a great idea for intro and outro, what I should say, just please help me out, please. And that's it for the show. I will see you here next week. Be there or be square. It's your choice. Call or text 310-909-7117. Okay, I've got to run. Love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.